Welcome to episode 8 of Divine Superconductor Radio. This is your host, Matt Blackburn, and today I am very excited to speak with Juraj of Somavedic. This technology is fascinating. It was introduced to me by my friend Brandon Amalani, and I have just been blown away by its effects. I'm a natural skeptic, especially with energetic devices, scalar. My eyes usually glaze over, and I'm the kind of guy that says, show me the studies. Well, these people have the studies. It's actually on their website, and it has a powerful effect on red blood cells, viscosity, changing the what's called zeta potential, or the electrical potential of the cell so they don't clump together. And it actually helps with electrosmog and geopathic stress, which is actually something that isn't really talked about. And you guys have heard me talk about stress here on the podcast, and I'll be speaking more about it in the future. But stress is the primary cause of all disease. That's where it starts. Cortisol and adrenaline wreaks havoc on the body. But what's the source of the stress? Is it your job? Is it your relationship? Is it your diet? Or is it your electromagnetic field environment? Or is there a river running under your house? Or is your house on what are called ley lines, which we go into in this podcast? Usually everyone has all of that going on, and that's why the stress is chronic. That's why it's runaway stress, and it's very hard to mitigate. But I recommend to mitigate stress, just start with cutting out fasting. Don't fast, don't starve yourself, because that causes a release of cortisol and adrenaline. That suppresses the immune system, suppresses the metabolism, and causes a lot of issues. So eat food. Don't skip breakfast. Do not drink coffee on an empty stomach. Have some sugar, put some maple syrup in your coffee. That's what I do. Balance your blood sugar before you drink your coffee, and have protein with carbs for breakfast. That's one of the best hacks that I've found, actually, to help with stress mitigation. So let's jump into it. Enjoy the show. All right, welcome to episode 7 of Divine Superconductor Radio. And today we have Juraj from Somavedic. Thanks for coming on, Juraj.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Awesome. So I am really impressed with this technology. My friend Brandon Amalani actually introduced it to me late last year, October, and I went all the way and just bought their most powerful unit called the Somavedic Uranium, I think.
Yes, Uranium, yeah.
Yeah, and I actually had a detox effect, which we can get into later for about a week. But just to jump in, how did you get started with this technology and introduced to it and interested in it and all that?
So Ivan, the inventor of Somavedic, well, he always was into measuring energies and how each like food is good and how each organ is functioning with the pendulum and with other types of devices. And so then he found out that to use different minerals in like precious and semi-precious stones, that when you put some minerals in a special configuration, then they work, then the effect is very much multiplied, and it is creating like a harmonious field, then that is also, among other things, causing the detox effect that you had.
Wow. Yeah, I used to make orgonite with my friends, and that was based off like Wilhelm Reich. I'm sure
exactly.
Ivan is a fan.
Yeah, I used to work with organites as well before. Yeah.
We might be jumping ahead, but how does this technology differ from orgonite? Because it's more of active than passive, right? Because you actually have an electric current going through it.
Yes, there is electric current, but it is not necessary to have it on. I mean, it's if we when a plugged in Somavedic, let's say works 100%, then when you plug it off, turn it off, the effect is about 60%. So the core of it are the minerals that supports each other. But it's not only the minerals. There to support the minerals, there are also precious metals. For example, in the medic urine you have, which in the US is called medic green ultra. Uh, there is gold, there is silver, there's platinum, palladium, copper. So also these metals are there, and so it's basically supporting each other. And yes, when you plug it in, it's more efficient, but it doesn't need to be.
Interesting. Yeah, when I first got it in the mail, I remember it was a really interesting time because um, I'm in the mountains, and so there's power outages, sometimes planned, sometimes unplanned. And this was an unplanned power outage, and it was out for 2 days straight, and really synchronistic or weird. But as soon as I unboxed it, I mean, it almost sounds like I'm making this up, but I held it in my hand, and the power went back on. It was off for 2 days.
Great synchro.
Yeah, that was amazing. So, yeah, on the website it says it works primarily through a controlled release of energy from minerals. And so, would that be called piezoelectricity, like applying pressure to minerals and metals, or?
No, no, no. The pressure is not used there. There is a circuit board below the minerals, and there is just basically like a copper wire below that. But yeah, even like in Chinese medicine, they use not only stones and precious stones for different parts of the body and treatment. So this is basically the principle that is Somavedic based on, just to use the energy of the minerals to multiply it with a combination of specific minerals. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I've been studying crystal energy. I think about like the Crystal Bible, and there's all these interesting books on crystals. And I used to be a new ager, probably pretty naive. And, um, I've gone through phases of thinking, oh, it's BS and it's real, and kind of going back and forth. But I discovered moldavite, which is like a meteorite.
Uh-huh.
It's
Okay.
tektite. And I've gotten a headache from it. I gave it to friends. They get a headache within like 30 seconds of just having this in their field. So I think the energy of different stones are very real, right? It's not just something that is subjective. It's actually an objective thing that different earth elements release energy.
Sure, definitely. I mean, if somebody would have shown me this device, I don't know, in 2012 or before, I would just laugh at it like, that's BS. Like it can't work. Like there's no such thing as energy from from minerals, etc., etc. But then when I started with work with Somavedic, and I gave it to some people around me, like the stories they were telling me were amazing. I've heard stories before, like amazing stories, but it's nothing like when you experience it for yourself, or when your friends are experiencing it. So then it's working.
Yeah, and that's why I really wanted to go for the most powerful one and the strongest and just try it. That's how I operate with especially these types of technologies like scalar and stuff. I'm always skeptical. I think a lot of the stickers that go on the back of the phone are probably just bunk, and there's a lot of placebo there. But
Yeah.
you guys have actual studies on your website, which is fascinating, showing the effects with a Wi-Fi router, right, and electrosmog and different things.
Yes, exactly. We have some of it was tested so far in 3 laboratories in Germany, Austria, and in Slovenia. So in Germany, it was tested for HRV, like heart rate variability, and the study found out that there were 10 test subjects, people, and they were spending time in the field of Somavedic. and they were every week they were measuring again and again their heart variability rate, and every week it was better. So they, yeah, the in the study that's on our webpage, you can download that as well. You can see the improvement there. So the more they spend time in the field, the more the heart rate variability was coherent, and like when the coherency is a like a signal of like overall wellness, let's say. Yeah. So on 80% of the subjects, the HRV was better. So this is quite significant. Then the second study was from Austria, that was regarding the electrosmog, which was not done on people, but which was measured quite like in detail and specifically. And the third study was from Slovenia, where yes, they were like measuring with cell phones the effect of cell phones on the body and how the body reacts when the Somavedic is turned on and off. It was double-blinded study, also with the router, and the Somavedic proved itself that it's working as well. So
that's really cool. Yeah, I've been studying non-native electromagnetic fields for about 4 years now, pretty intensely. And I've gone on both sides, where I used to rely on just orgonite for protection. And then now at just a balanced place where I'm just like, let's just stack it all, the scalar technology, the grounding, maybe a magnetic sleeping pad that's built correctly in your technology. And I think just the combination of these things can really help us handle these new threats like 5G and 6G that's coming and all this, because we just need to keep.
Exactly, because there's no such thing as like one fix for everything. Like Somavedic is not like it's not a miracles device. You still have to do the work on yourself. Like there's no other way around it. So yes, this is it's just one of the helpers on our way to clear mind or better health or whatever. So absolutely yes. It's always good to have different devices around.
Yeah, well said. So the precious and semi-precious stones and metals, is that proprietary? Like, how did the inventor come up with the configuration and choosing the metals and minerals?
So first there were some trial and errors, and it was measured. Then he was when creating this, he was also measuring it with pendulum. He had feedback from different people that could measure in a way like energies. But what's most important is that the effects of Somavedic, they can be measured on a device that is officially approved by the standard medicine. It's a bioresonance device. It's called Bicom. Yes, it's a German producer, Bicom, BICOM. It's a German producer. Is the biggest producer in the world of bioresonance devices, and we actually cooperate with them. They are to their device they put one of ours, because like their device costs like thousands and thousands of euros. Yeah, you can measure the effects of the Somavedic on that device, and it's as I mentioned before, it's officially been got the certificate that you can heal with that device. And when you spend, let's say, a month in the field of Somavedic, it can show you the differences before and after. So this is the way how he was, let's say, fine-tuning and measuring it.
Interesting. Okay. Have you ever heard of the GDV camera, like Dr. Korotkov, like Konstantin Korotkov?
The name sounds familiar. Is that measuring the what's the camera doing?
Yeah, you put like each finger individually in this dark camera box, and it measures. It's called a gas discharge visualization camera, and it measures the extreme low frequency UV light, so the biophotons emitting from your fingertips, and then it
Yes,
uses the software. And
I know that.
yeah, Yeah, I think a lot of people are using that too to like quantify things. And I think it's good to use a mixture of devices, right, to figure out what's working.
We didn't try this one, but it's good point that we should definitely. I would like to see that.
I have one. I could do some experiments.
All right. Okay.
um, yeah, the one thing that fascinated me was I think the founder used to kind of do ghost hunting, so to speak. Because I grew up having, which is why I'm kind of a weirdo and into some weird stuff, is I grew up seeing things and hearing things that, you know, maybe in other realms. I had a weird childhood of kind of like being able to maybe experience other dimensions or other realms of existence. And he did kind of like ghost hunting, right? Or he would go to, I think I read online, places that were having paranormal activity.
We have references, like several from different cities that let's say there were strange noises in old houses, and after buying Somavedic, then they just disappeared. They were gone. So the Somavedic works all on the, let's say, I don't know how to call it, like ghost or not sure how to explain it correctly, but we have several references that all of a sudden the haunted places, they are no more haunted. Not anymore.
That's amazing. Yeah, I definitely feel like a protective effect from it. It's like a force field kind of feeling that I get. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, one of my close friends, that he's working lots of quite a lot with energies and with earth, and he can basically like feel the energy of minerals. When I showed him the unit for the first time, the one the green that you got, he the second he told me that there is gold in it, isn't it? And I said, yes, there is. And he said like, oh, that's such amazing energy. I'm bathing in the gold energy. So yeah, it's everybody feels it a bit different, but he was spot on.
Wow, that's fascinating. So, like, I sometimes have crystals in my pocket. A lot of time, moldavite, or my friend mines Herkimer diamonds in the New York area. So he sent me one of those, and good combination. But so having a crystal on your body versus having the Somavedic, it's my understanding the Somavedic just basically shoots it out 90 feet, right?
Yes, it creates basically a protective bubble, let's say, into all like directions, like a coherent, more natural space where the body actually is can heal itself. But there are also not only where the body can heal itself, it has supportive vibrations from the minerals.
Wow. Yeah, I like to think that because I have so many supplements and honey and food and bee pollen, I like to think it's also affecting the food and supplements, right? I mean, it would. Isn't it permeating everything into the cabinets and
Yes, it is. It's working with everything, let's say that is alive, with plants and with animals or pets. We have even in our home, our house, we had quite amazing experience with flowers. They they shouldn't bloom, and they were blooming for 3 months, and they kept on and on. So and people, they write us all the time that they have like jungle at home, which wasn't before. So when plants react to that, animals as well, like dogs and cats. So yeah, it's definitely doing something.
that's so fascinating. I'm planning on making this place a jungle, but you just made me think in my kitchen where I spend most of my time, I have in the window there a couple of plants and it's really filtered sunlight. Like it's very scarce, but ever since I got the device, they've been blowing up and growing, like really branching out.
We have, yeah, as I said, we have quite a lot experiences and funny stories with the plants. So if you have a garden, then the garden will be amazing.
That's so cool. I plan on getting chickens this year and starting a small farm. And I bet getting one for the animals would be super beneficial to keep them calm and quieter and all that.
Sure, exactly. Yeah, that's definitely one of the things that is doing. Yeah.
Very cool. I want to talk about detox symptoms a little bit. So,
Okay.
um, so I was I was very skeptical when I bought it. I was like, oh, cool. At the very least, it'll just look cool. But I had extreme mucus discharging from my sinuses for at least 5 days straight. It wasn't a runny nose, but it was just, I would keep blowing my nose and blowing my nose. And it definitely caused a release of blockage in my body.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
interesting.
It's we started like 2 or 3 years ago. We started to put the like a warning text into the box that there might be detoxifying effects, because people, the effects are like flu symptoms most of the time, are like flu symptoms. So it's similar that what you described, but it could be different. For example, when I brought it for the first time at home and turned it on, my jaw was buzzing like bzzz, like electricity, and I was walking like drunk for an hour or so. But in 2 hours everything was fine, and I never felt anything so strong since then. Like, but I gave it, for example, I gave it to a friend of mine, and she said that for 2 days she was trying to catch the toilet. She was detoxifying so fast. So yeah, but she was laughing at it. Yeah. So yes, this is definitely happening.
Yeah, I think a good point to make is that it's short term usually,
Yes,
right? I mean,
yes.
especially if people are on a relatively
It's
healthy lifestyle.
Yeah, exactly. This varies quite a lot. For example, as my experience was, just my jaw was buzzing. Other people, they don't feel anything, or they don't have any detoxifying effects. And this is short term. It could take from like 1 hour to 2 days, or yeah, that depends.
Have you heard of people getting headaches? Because I think I counted like 3 or 4 of my friends now when they came over to my cabin and then they got a headache within usually like 20 minutes of just being in my cabin. And then we leave and the headache goes away. And we come back and the headache comes back.
Yeah. The headaches, most of well, I'm not saying that this is it, but lots of times it comes from that the people spend too much time in like EMF polluted areas, and it's basically stuck in the brain. So that's why when they come to this field, it's changing, and that hurts.
Whoa, that is fascinating. Yeah, I can't wait to learn more about the science of how it works on EMF and radiation and electrosmog. I know there's so many different types of EMF, like radio, RF frequencies, electric. There's magnetic. There's dirty electricity. But the Somavedic works kind of on an overall kind of EMF protection, right? Like
Yes,
from all
basically
this.
there are for yeah, let's say today there are more than 2 million frequencies in the Somavedic, and we are updating it all the time. It is possible to update it as new devices come up, new technologies. The device is quite intelligent, and luckily we can do this, but it's not working on the physical level, because well, then your cell phones wouldn't work, or Wi-Fi. It's more on the informational, or let's say quantum or informational level. It's working there. So this is it. We wouldn't be able to sell it otherwise. So you can have it in your office, and don't worry that no one that it would block your Wi-Fi or signal. So it's working on the informational level, let's say.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, and I recommend people turn off their Wi-Fi. I hardwired my cabin with Ethernet here, and between hardwired, no Wi-Fi, and this device, it feels so good.
Sure, of course. I mean, because a lot of people they say that, okay, you buy the device and you just stay in the same environment, and it will be just prolonged. And the device, of course, I understand it. I mean, I love to spend time in nature. I just love it. I don't need to be spend all my free time on cell phone or whatever. But the device is, when you have a 9 to 5 job, and like, let's be honest, absolute majority people live in the cities, and until they just have to be there and go to 9 to 5 jobs, and they have no other option, it's always a better choice to have the Somavedic there. Of course, when they leave the work and go to nature, they can leave it there. But this is a good supporting device if they have no other choice.
Yeah, it's almost like it's bringing nature's field to the workplace, right?
Yeah, yeah, almost literally. Yes.
And when you said update the device, do you mean remotely or coming out with new versions of the physical product, or both?
Well, yeah, I'm thinking about how to answer that. It's both, but I don't want to go in too much detail because well, Ivan says the inventor that he can basically update them remotely, that they are interconnected between each other, and he can do that.
That's
Yes,
really
so,
cool because it has,
yeah.
you mentioned a circuit in there, right? Or like a little.
Yes, but he is updating it not through Wi-Fi or whatever. It's like on the informational level. It's they are connected. You know, it's we are living in a quantum world, and it's everything is connected. So this way, let's say this way, he can update it. But it's going on also on the physical level with the new units. Some other stones or frequencies are put it there. So it's both.
That's super cool. And the most fascinating thing to me about it is the geopathic stress information. And this is actually kind of a new area for me, but it's my understanding that if your house is over a river or on a ley line on the earth, then that can cause a lot of stress, right?
Yes, exactly. It's let's say a low vibrational low vibrational frequency from that is coming from the earth. And when you have, for example, bed on that line, or where you have like your office chair there, you spend more than 8 hours a day, and for let's say months and years, it has a negative effect on your health. And this has to be proven that it is like this. And you can, for example, cats, they do like to spend time in these fields, and dogs, they are opposite, they don't like to be there. So this is also good measuring device. Cats could be good measuring device to that. So yes, it is like you are saying, if there is a river or ley lines, it's not always that it is generating these negatives, the negative effects, the geopathic stress. But when it is doing the Somavedic can neutralize it. It doesn't mean it doesn't mean it will go away. It's there, but the negative effects of it, they are gone.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, it's so funny. I live with a cat, a black cat, and when I first got it, her new spot was right next to it for a few months. She would just sleep right next to the device.
Okay, that's great.
She doesn't do that anymore, so maybe she was just getting the detox effect or something.
Yeah, just it was like restructuring the area, so then she moved to a better place.
Yeah. That's fascinating though about the cats and dogs differences. That's really interesting.
Yes, and people. It used to be that when there were cows on the field, so the Chinese knew this for thousands of years. Then, depending on where they were lying on the ground, they knew that there are these geopathic zones or not. So yeah, just by observing the animals. So they knew
Wow.
that we won't build a house on that spot.
It's kind of like the meridians in the body, right? On how those are connected. Like the earth has its own kind of meridians.
Yes. It's something. Yes, it is a meridian thing, but this is something a bit different. These let's say ley lines, because there are lots of them, but just some are causing these effects.
Got it. And on the FAQ, it says it helps with viruses, bacteria, parasites. Is that just because it's taking away kind of the stress of EMF or geopathic?
Somavedic is not like a medical device, but it has been measured by the beyond bioresonance device that can measure this. That it is actually removing viruses and bacteria and mold from your system. So you can test it with that. If someone would like to, yeah, it's proven this way. That's why we can state it that it's helping with this as well.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've been researching the relationship between stress, the liver, and the thyroid gland, and how stress and cortisol and adrenaline specifically start to eat the thymus gland, like that makes our T cells, and that is the master immunity gland. And so I've been finding that all infections kind of have a root in stress. And I mean, that's kind of ambiguous because stress could be caused by EMF or geopathic or relationship or career,
Yes,
so many.
exactly. I mean, as I said before, the Somavedic is not like a miraculous device that you just turn it on and yeah, you are protected for the rest of your life. Sometimes it's quite the opposite, that it, let's say, like quote, it forces you to look at your lifestyle or relationships. It's basically, it accelerates it a bit.
I've definitely felt that. Yeah. And I like on your website, the effects of Somavedic page. You guys say 3 to 5 days, 3 to 6 weeks, 1 to 3 months, and you go up to 6 to 12 months. And it's kind of like a compounding benefit effect.
Yeah, it is. The more time you spend in that field, the better. But if you basically you wouldn't people like we wouldn't need it if we would be working in the nature and spend more time and like digging our hands dirty in the ground. But yeah, as most of us live in the cities, then it's good to have one. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And it's my understanding, it's kind of a depressing thought, but that all the frequencies that are emitted, even if like I'm in a pretty rural area with not a lot of people, but the whole earth is blanketed. I mean, you really have to go to like the cenotes in Mexico or like go underground almost to get away from these frequencies.
Yeah, exactly. And now, well, the aim is to launch I don't know how many thousands of satellites, so internet would be available everywhere. So we definitely would be like covered in it, bathing in it. So yeah, best
Yeah,
way would be to go into nature and yeah, just spend as much time as possible.
definitely. Yeah, I've been living around pine trees for the last few years, and I know pine trees hold on to a lot of water, like gallons and gallons of water. And water is a repository for electromagnetic radiation. So it's my understanding that pine trees specifically
Mhm.
are almost like grounding rods. And so, like living in a forest, you're just like in a more grounded environment where those are taking the hit, so to speak.
Okay, that's interesting. I'd never heard that, but yeah, that's interesting, definitely.
um, so, structured water, that's another aspect to this. And I haven't really played with it.
hmm
I have a really elaborate water routine. Like I'll do steam distilled water and then I'll put it in my vortexer and it runs it over like black tourmaline and prills and magnesium
hmm
oxide. So I'll vortex it for a half hour and then put it in a Myron glass and then put that in the sun. That's like my full
Okay.
water routine.
Yeah, so there's definitely different approaches how to structure the water or how to work with the water. For example, there are similar as you were describing. Then there are devices that are doing it on the energetic level, it's without basically touching the water. It can be like, I don't know, like 10 or 20 feet away and it's working. But yes, this comes from the research of Masaru Emoto. I think he was best known for that. When you say good words or good thoughts to the water, the crystals of it be like they see different. So, but uh, what is more that people can relate to is that they can read the different references on our webpage, how the water just tastes different. They are used to drink some kind of water, and when they bring some Somavedic and put the jar next to it for I don't know for 15 or 20 minutes, and they taste it again, then they can literally taste the difference. So children can taste it like adults. So this is the main differentiator, how you can tell that the water is better than before.
That's really cool. Yeah, and it's the longer the better almost, right? Because I used to put like a mason jar, like 32 ounces, before bed. Would you say that's a good practice just to make it easy? Like just charge your water overnight while you sleep?
Yes, sure. Yeah. Why not? Definitely.
Cool. Yeah, that's something I definitely want to play with. And I think some of these devices you can actually measure the energy of the water. I think the GDB camera has an attachment where you can like put a probe in the water and it measures the
Okay. Okay,
energy.
I didn't explore this, but could be nice to see that, definitely.
A lot more like tests to be done. It's a fun time. So
The tests that were done with our device was done in Switzerland. They were doing there the photos of the crystals, and yeah, they looked pretty amazing.
yeah. I have a live blood microscope, so I'll like look at my blood before and after certain things, and it's really fun.
Yeah, this is yeah. When you are mentioning the blood, that see, I almost forgot that yeah, the blood was tested as well. So after you drink the water treated by Somavedic, or you spend some time in the field, the red blood cells, they are, let's say, I forgot the exact expression, that they are not glued together. Basically they are separate and have more oxygen, and they are basically more healthy.
Yeah, I think that's the same effect that grounding has. Like it unclups them and kind of gives them more
Yeah,
space.
I saw when I was changing like my diet, when I had quite some years ago some problems with my like health. I was researching, and they were, for example, like the goji, the red. Yeah, they were also showing that. See, after you drink extract of goji, your blood cells would separate. So yeah, there are different studies for this.
Yeah, I think I've seen those videos. It's pretty cool that it's easy to see that. I think it's called the zeta potential. It's like the cell should have a negative charge, I think, and that repels them from each other.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
That's really cool. I was wondering what are your favorite like weird testimonials, like the craziest things you've heard from customers that has happened to them with it?
Craziest.
Just like the
Well,
most wild, like
I will come up with some, and then maybe I will get to my brain will get to some, let's say, wild ones. But for example, there was a, a pup dog that a few months old, was not able, had diarrhea all the time, and was not able to gain weight. And yeah, so after they brought Somavedi home, after I think it was 2 or 3 weeks, like the health changed quite dramatically, and he started to eat, and yeah, got healthy. And so this is, for example, one. Then the other one was when there was a lady, and she they put the big, I don't know what the name of it, like it's like a BTS tower, like a cell phone tower, on the rooftop. And immediately she started to have dizzy and headaches and stuff like that. So then she bought a Somavedic device, and like the headaches and dizziness was gone. Then she borrowed the device to her daughter, and as soon as the device was gone, the headaches were back. So yeah, this is something that we get like almost on an everyday basis.
that's amazing. Yeah, even though there's research, I mean, there's not a ton, there's not like thousands of studies, but the subjective like experiential testimonials are real. I mean, I didn't know anything about the device really when I got it, and I
Mhm.
had all these things happening, and I was like, this must be real because there was no placebo. I didn't really want to read about it. I wanted to experience it first.
Yeah, exactly. For the, let's say, the most recent experience, a lady, she wrote a blog about Somavedic, I don't know, like 4 days ago, that she has a son that speaks in two word sentences, and he said, like, when he was drinking the water, good water, refill. And she was amazed, because he never used that towards water, those words. He never asked to refill water. So yeah, that was like funny story.
Wow. Yeah, that's amazing. I used to be a teacher at a juvenile detention facility for, like, bad kids, and I would just see the environment that they were in, drinking from the tap water in the city. I think it was like 400 parts per million, really hard water, contaminated with who knows what, iron, all sorts of metals, and, eating the processed food, and just seeing their mood, and seeing, like, before and after they eat, the junk food. And it's just a crazy world we're in, especially for the children. I think just the environment really shapes our emotions, right? And that changes how we act.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a lot of work we have to do towards our environment, and bringing up our children, and then educating them the right way. Yeah, definitely quite a lot of work.
A lot. Yeah, so I don't take many days off. I'm like, you got to keep working.
I do have one like funny reference. It's the inventor, Ivan, gave Somavedic to a good friend, and he called him 2 months after that, and he was eager, like, okay, tell me what happened, what changed in your life. I don't know, my health is the same, my like children are the same, dogs, everything. There are no changes. Like, I didn't perceive anything. And he said, okay. So then they were talking for, I don't know, like 20 minutes, and he asked about his wife, and he said, oh, you see, we got divorced. We divorced. But the thing was that they wanted to divorce for more than a year, and it was basically, well, always something happened that they were not able to divorce. And all of a sudden, then he said, oh, see, well, I got divorced. And this is just one of examples that we have more of them, that it has effects on relationships as well, because it's basically, you have to look more into yourself, like into your shadows, and it brings them more faster to the surface. So that's why some changes even in relationships can happen.
I can relate to that. Yeah, and I'm a big fan of Dr. Cowan, and a lot of people have been bringing to light that the heart is not a pump; it's like an electromagnetic generator. And Dr. Cowan talks about how the heart of gold saying is very real. I guess gold, that metal, is concentrated in the heart, and that's like the most conductive mineral, and that helps it. That kind of brings coherence to our body, and it's interesting.
Yeah,
and there's gold in Somavedic, so
yeah,
that would make sense. It acts on the heart, possibly.
Yeah, could be. Definitely.
Very cool. Yeah, I think it was a different website, but I read somewhere online that the Somavedic helps with like psychic self-defense, kind of, or psychic protection, like black magic. That was fascinating to me.
It's a reference on our webpage. There is one, let's say, psychic guy that quite famous in the Czech Republic, and he's working with pendulum and different other techniques. And so he analyzed the Medic Green Ultra, or the green one that you have, quite in detail, and how it's working on the chakras, and how on your immune system, on the geopathic zones, etc., etc. And this was one of the points, if it's protecting you from black magic or poltergeist. And it's, I can't recall the number, or because everything he put there is expressed in percentage, let's say 90% or 100%, but it was definitely more than 80%. So the effects,
That's incredible. Yeah, I definitely think there's a spiritual battle going on. And part of the spiritual battle is convincing people, non-duality and, there's no fight, just surrender. But meanwhile, I mean, you look at the
Yeah.
children, the suffering, and obviously the dark forces have their hand in a lot of things in society. And so I really do think there's a spiritual battle happening, and there is such thing as the dark forces. And we have to be vigilant and, kind of warrior status.
Yes, yes, definitely. I mean, there's like it's not a good approach to just sit back and smile that everything will just turn out good. Like it's when this is one of the most dangerous things, not to do anything. Don't not to be active.
Well said. Yeah, I think there was a great quote. I can't remember what it was like. The worst thing a good man can do is sit by and do nothing as evil reigns or something.
Yes, exactly. I had yeah, I had this quote in my mind, but I was not able to recall it, so I skipped that.
I had some coffee, so maybe that's why. Yeah, and before this call, just for the listeners, we were laughing because George mentioned a coffee experiment. Could you just repeat that really quick? It was kind of funny.
Yes,
And
yes. We had a visit from Italy. Our factory had a visit from Italy. There were three guys, businessmen, and yeah, they were. You know how Italians and the coffee goes together. So they had their coffee on the table, and we told them it was like fresh done the coffee. So and we told them put it next to Somavedic and don't drink it yet. Wait for 3 minutes, then you can taste it. And yeah, they when they tasted after 3 or 4 minutes, the expression in their faces was hilarious. They were like quite amazed by the coffee, and they immediately bought like each of them one to bring home. So yeah, so it was very very like funny.
that's really cool. Yeah, I'm obsessed with coffee. I think it's a health food. Always drink it with food though, because I used to fast with coffee, and that's so bad for the thyroid and adrenals. I
Yeah,
learned that
yeah,
the hard
yeah.
way.
Well, I'm still sensitive to caffeine. I do like to have my like cup of coffee. I used to be sensitive, but now it's better. It was used before. I had different like multiple other problems, but yeah, luckily they are gone. So now I can enjoy my coffee, morning coffee, and yeah, I love that.
Definitely. Yeah, I do it daily. I love fresh ground.
Yeah, great.
um, I was curious, just personally, have you played with any other devices? Because I've been really into like micropulsing for the blood and PEMF and Rife technology. Just like you personally, have you experimented with other technologies or?
Not with technology. I used to have organites around me, or yeah, wherever I was going or I was staying. So this, I started with this. Then I tried to experiment with the pyramids, and that was amazing. That I still do have like a pyramid at home that I put water in it. I mean, in the jar and in it, and it's even like the pyramid has even its effect on the water. The water is even a bit better than when you don't use the pyramid. So yeah, then there was the pyramid, and then Somavedic. So just these three. No other active device except Somavedic.
No, that's awesome. I was really into pyramids too. I think I even have a YouTube video still up from like 5 years ago, and it was just the frame that I would sit in. But I had a big meditation one,
Hmm.
and it was aligned to magnetic north. And I studied like Nick Edwards, Patrick Flanagan, pyramid energy. There are a bunch of books I bought, and it's a very real thing that like harmonizes. It's my understanding that the pyramid energy, that's why they were built all over the earth, is they kind of protect from earthquakes and natural disasters, right? They kind of balance the energy.
I could definitely. My first experience in a big pyramid. It was, I don't know, like 7 or 8 feet tall, and I was lying in it on a table. So I was in the first not quarter, but well, there are three, let's say three parts. So I was in the first part from the ground from yeah. So and as I was laying there, and I closed my eyes, I like someone would be flashing a light to my eyes. It was really like a light show. And my girlfriend, she had never experienced a pyramid before or lying in it. And when she lay down, she felt like great warm energy in her stomach. So yeah, that was nice experience as well.
That's really cool. Yeah, I've gone to a lot of conferences and seen all different types of people build them and sell them online for hundreds of bucks. And I know you can make your own and the materials matter. It's such an interesting subject. Maybe putting a Somavedic in a pyramid would be powerful, right?
Yeah, I do. I do have it at home like that. And I was measuring it. I was measuring it with the pendulum that how many times the Somavedic it's working how many times better, and I think it was like 4 times. The pyramid was uh, doing 4 times the stronger the Somavedic, but yeah, it could be wrong, but it's yeah. Well, sometimes I use the pendulum to measure, and yeah, the 4 was the answer.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I'm a natural skeptic, but when you look at the Earth and all these civilizations that built pyramids all over the world around the same time, right? It's like obviously they're power generators or something.
Yeah, exactly. There are quite interesting documentaries on YouTube how it served yeah to generate power or electricity or whatever. But it was definitely something in this space.
Yeah, yeah. I think one of the a festival I went to years ago, there was a speaker that was talking about the water in the pyramids, and I guess they built like pressurized tunnels, and the water moved a certain way, and it was like really intelligent technology.
Yeah, and there was it was creating the charge as the water was moving up and down. Yeah, yeah, I can remember that.
That's super cool. Well, yeah, that's really cool to hear about your pyramid experience. The the models of the Somavedics, there's 5 different ones, right? And they all have different strengths, or are they different minerals, or kind of what's the difference?
Well, yes. If you look at the somavedic.com webpage and you open the models page, you can see there like a matrix form of what is each model doing and let's say how efficient is it in it. So, for example, there's a model Atlantic that is basically was designed just to structure the water. It's not doing anything else, no EMF protection or geopathic zones, just water structuring. And then there's quantum model that is basically focused on the EMF protection only. Then there is harmony model that is that has supportive minerals for the body. Then there is a bit more expensive model. It's called Medic, and he has those previous models basically in one. But the Medic is not structuring the water, and then there's the like top model, the green one, Medic Green Ultra. Then what basically he has everything from each previous model, and it's the strongest one with also the let's say furthest range. It has efficient range about 150 feet.
I didn't know that. I thought it was only 90. That's awesome.
We do have some new in store, but we will introduce them in coming months.
I love it. Yeah. So would you say like a good starting one is the Medic? Because the Medic Green Ultra, you guys kind of advertise that for almost like hospitals or healing centers, right? Like rich.
Yes, it's the Medic Green Ultra is yes, it's for clinics or therapeutic centers or to use it at a doctor or but you can of course have it at home when you open your laptop and you see there more than 10 Wi-Fi's, then then you should probably go for the green one.
Yeah, yeah, that's well said. Like I'm thinking like for people that live in the city and maybe don't have a ton of money to spend, like the Harmony would be like at least the basic one to get maybe, and then if they can get the
Yes,
Medic.
harmony. Yes, harmony or quantum.
Mm,
Quantum is more stronger on the EMF protection,
mm.
and harmony is more supporting towards the health, towards virus and bacteria. So and both are for the same price. It's 365. So yeah, you can choose between those. Those are the basic models.
Awesome. Yeah, I think they're super reasonably priced because I've been researching technologies like this for a long time, almost a decade, and a lot of companies mark up like extremely, I don't know, like 50 times markup, but it doesn't seem like you guys are doing that because I mean, this is uranium glass, it's a lot of crystals, it's a lot of
Yes,
it's powerful.
the uranium glass is used with the green model, not with the other ones, but all of them are made like it's a handmade glass, and it's like we don't have any like machines putting everything together. Like basically people are assembling it, so it's not like something in a big factory that just there's just plastic and circuit board and it's machine put together. It's this is everything is built by hand. So yes, the price is the lowest we could go.
I think it's very reasonable. And is there a reason why you use uranium glass for the Medic Green Ultra? Is it does it have a power to
The reason is because it has even stronger effect for the EMF protection. This
Wow.
was yeah we measured this as well. It's not like that like it's not a coincidence. So there is a specific reason behind that.
Yeah,
And it
before you guys
is
had never heard of I'm sorry.
yeah, you never heard of uranium glass before?
Yeah, I think of uranium like radiation like that, right?
This is something a bit different. It's green and it's called uranium glass, but like Czech Republic and some other countries uh, are one of few there that are quite famous for this kind of glass, and they are exporting it to the whole world for many years to the US as well, and it's been tested over and over again. If isn't it like hazardous for health, but it's not. It's like it has all the certificates it needs, and it's uh during the night when I have it in my living room and I'm looking at it. It's it's such a nice feeling when just the green light. It reminds me of when I'm looking into a fireplace. So this is the closest it can get when there's a device, let's say. Uh, it reminds me and it's calming me down the just to look at it. Yeah, so it's nice.
It adds a really nice ambiance. Yeah, and I like how there's three blue lights in it, and I've been kind of looking into the Holy Trinity, and I wonder if that's kind of was the inspiration from the creator
Yes,
of it.
the yes. So there are three blue LEDs in it, and they are like one of the reasons they are there. That is basically if one would go off, then we would know then that something's wrong on the circuit. So we would have changed that.
I was
Yeah.
thinking into it too deeply.
No, I mean, yeah, there are other reasons, but this is one of them that I'm mentioning right now.
That's really cool. Yeah, I've been studying like the effect of light on the circadian rhythm, and I think blue and green are the worst. Like, because green is like 5:55, and I guess it suppresses melatonin. But you know, if I think it's just like an hour or two before bed, you just don't want to like stare directly at it. So I tend to use like red lights and
Yes, but the from my experience, I basically can't. You basically can't see the blue LED in it. You just see the green.
yeah, definitely, it's a very light I love the design of it. It's just so beautiful. I have it on the ground, but I should probably put it up somewhere higher. And that, that kind of leads me to my other question. On your website, you say the placement is very intuitive, right? But maybe in the center of your space, kind of.
Ideal place is in the center of where you are staying, but definitely put it somewhere where you like it to be, or where you like it to look at. So that's basically the best place to put it.
And ideally under a pyramid.
yeah. Under a pyramid.
So, and it lasts forever, right? I mean, because crystals, they don't go bad. I mean, maybe just you said if one of the lights goes out.
Yes, we give 5 years warranty. So if anything happens, we exchange it like piece for piece. And the unit should last for more than 7 or 10 years. So yeah, and so it should last basically forever. But we think it must be more than 10. And that's why we give 5 years warranty, which is quite unique.
No, that's great. Yeah, and if there's a electromagnetic pulse attack or something, and the whole grid goes down, then you probably don't need it anyway, because there's not going to be these energies. Always thinking ahead.
Yeah, always prepared.
Well, it's funny. I have the generator, for when the power goes out, and that's actually a priority to have that powered when the power goes out. So I love how it feels.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Very cool. Any
looks
other
like
things
looks like you are very well protected. If anything would happen.
Can charge my water, chickens and eggs. Is there anything we didn't cover, George, that you wanted to talk about, or?
I think, well, you were very well prepared. I think we covered basically everything. I mean, if people are interested in it, well, I say one more thing, that we started to sell the device Ivan started to sell the device in 2011. And well, even until now, 95% of the models we sell is via like word of mouth recommendation. It's we do some kind of marketing, but absolute majority of the sales come from word of mouth recommendation. This means that we have strong confidence in our product, because it just works. And if people would like to try it out, then just give it a try. And there is like 30-day money guarantees. There's basically nothing to lose. And there's one thing, that there's like, from let's say 1,000 people, like three send it back, or 5, let's say 5. And most people that send it back, they write us, they want to have it back, because they actually realize that it is working when it left. so they could feel the difference. So yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, and that's a great point you bring up. A lot of the best companies, whether it be supplements or devices, they don't have a huge marketing team, because generally, like, I find the more the company spends on marketing, the integrity of the product goes down, because all their money is going to just promoting it. But the best products are just word of mouth, and people are just excited because they work.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I consider myself quite a lucky guy, because I'm working like with something that has great meaning to me. It fulfills me, and when I'm reading the emails that our customer sends us, is like, it doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah, it feels really good to help people. That's I'm definitely addicted to that.
So if there anybody that will be inspired by this interview, like, feel free to get in touch and help us.
Love it. Yeah, and I have thank you. And I have your product on my website, matt-blackburn.com, and it supports my work when people purchase through that.
Okay. Yeah, definitely.
And one of the last questions, just I couldn't find it online. People with pacemakers, is there any contraindications, or it's working on a quantum energetic level, right? So it doesn't really have an effect on electronics.
No, it has no effect on electronics. We had to be sure about that. And contraindications, except the detox that could happen, might not. It could. We don't know of any other, because we
Yeah.
have our therapists. The network of therapists is selling in basically in Europe most of the units, and we have quite a good feedback from them, so we know if something would happen. So we are not aware of any.
Awesome. Yeah, I find generally only like the PEMF that you have to be careful for with pacemakers and stuff like that. But the scalar and this type of technology, it's working on a higher level, almost like a non-physical. Awesome. Well, this was super informative, George. Thanks so much for coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you, Matthew, for the invitation. I really enjoyed it.
Awesome. Wow, that was quite the interview. George is a fascinating man, and I liked all the different topics that we covered: cats, dogs, coffee, orgonite, and all the minerals that were in there. I didn't know that gold was in there. I think that's pretty fascinating. And 2 million frequencies, that's a lot. The coolest thing about this device is you can actually feel it. I've had people walk up to me in the past and hand me crystals and say, "Hold this," and kind of give me a look and say, "What do you feel?" They're all excited and usually make something up. Yeah, I feel a charge. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Most people don't. I know Moldavite I've gotten a headache from, and other people have as well. But this device, it's just a calming effect. Everyone feels it. People that have come over to my place, they get a headache. They have an extreme detox. And I definitely had nearly a week of detox. For me, it was sinus drainage, which is incredible because you're just plugging something in and it's shooting out this field 150 feet. It's amazing what technology like this can do. If you guys want to experience this technology, you can check it out on my website. That's matt-blackburn.com, and that link will be below the show. Or you can go direct to them, and that's somavedic.com, somavedic.com, and use the discount code BLACKBURN to save 10%. Today's quote is by Dr. Raymond Peat. The biological idea of stress refers to the difficulty of adapting, and this involves energy, structure, and insight/orientation. Given enough energy, we can often adjust our structure to achieve full adaptation. And with insight, we can minimize the amount of energy and structural change needed. For example, just by a change of pace or rhythm.